Good evening, people. Good evening. This is Spirit Journey. And yes, another day doing a live stream out there. How you all doing? I'm relaxing out here. Had my last meal for the day and just retreating early. Yes, my baby's already in bed with me. Uh, so excuse the snoring. Yes, sometimes they snore. But anyway, um, what do I want to talk about today? A sensitive issue that I would like to discuss. I want to be very careful how I might word something. Um, I don't want to be insensitive. I think I entitled this live stream um, Hatred, what's that? Bigotry and what builds community. Yes, good morning or good evening. Good evening out there. Good evening. Yes, I'm just getting started here. And those three elements I talked about, they are related. And it's really about self reflection. Hey, girl. Oh, my goodness. Hey, Cam Cam. Yes, happy holidays. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. It's always good to hear from you. Good to hear from you. Yeah, I'm just getting started out here. Let me know if you can hear me okay. Because I have my iPad and sometimes I have to keep it some distance from me so I don't want to get too irradiated, with these devices. But if you need for me to, just let me know if the audio's okay. You can like type a one if the audio's okay, or if I need to get closer to the mic, let me know too. Oh, yeah. Okay, great. Thank you, Cam Cam. Thank you. Yes, I want to talk about some issues. I think this is all about really self-reflection and how I internalize things that happen. It's like I'm being revisited to issues from my past, people from my past, and they're kind of all related. It's about people that you might meet. Now, the U.S. has many people from all over the world, and my grandparents are from another part of the world too. But I was born here. My parents were born here, and my identity is here. But sometimes when we might go to a new region, it is an adjustment period. And I think um, it's not a total absorption, but like um, some things you might still want to hold on to, like maybe what type of food you eat. Now, New York City has so many different types of foods, like the bagel. Like I had a bagel today, bagel with cream cheese and you can get it with the lox too. Um, that's from like Eastern Europe. Then you have like also what I had today. I had beef patties, Jamaican style beef patties. Okay, and those are good. You have pizza. It's from people from Italy. At least the people who make it are from Italy or Sicily. So what makes a country rich are its people. So I just feel I needed to say that. Years ago, um, yeah, I was 17 years old, and I started college, and I had a little job, and I met someone. Um, they they were in my psychology class, and she seemed like a nice person. And we had she was an immigrant from the Caribbean, and she seemed very outgoing. Um, just on the surface, seemed very pleasant. But sometimes we start to learn about um, people could have two faces. They have an act of showing you a face, a facade that is likable, and they know this about themselves. But sometimes underneath that facade is something that's a little bit caustic. Um, you see their true colors. And I used to go to this person's home. I've met all their family. Uh, they went to church, and they even went over to the place where I lived, and I invited them to family function. Um, but I later, you start to discover certain things, and I don't really want to go into all this detail about them, but you learn their character, and it's almost like you have some individuals, they know what people like, and they show you a facade in order to be liked by certain people. See, I want to be very careful how I word this. Um, they know exactly what they're doing. They're very calculating, and they can present a face so that people will think that they are a certain way. But they are not. And when you receive the other side of that coin, or you're told about it, you're like, oh wow. But I just went on social media, and I just started thinking about this person. And unfortunately, I found out, I mean, the person is alive, but they encountered, wow, they have cancer, and they had a complete hysterectomy. Now I knew this person, and initially in our friendship was very innocent. And for me at the time when I first met her, I thought she'd be like a sister to me. Of course, we were about the same age. So I thought it was a real fun, I come from a very male dominated household. And so to have someone appear, um, another female to play with, to hang out with, it was really nice. So she, to me, initially, I saw her as, hey, we had some similarities in our appearance. And I remember we used to like sleepovers. You go out to restaurants. I was like introduced to restaurants. I'm not so much into restaurants per se, but I do like, fast food places. I like to eat and run. You buy something and you eat on the way. A very New York thing to do. That's me. But she liked to go sit and eat at these restaurants. And I was introduced to this really nice restaurant that's out of business now. It was fantastic. But as time went on, just certain elements were revealed. and we stopped seeing each other abruptly. But I was thinking about her lately. 2 years ago, I heard some news about her over social media. I found her name over social media by chance, and wow, s- uh, one of the children has autism, um, and there's a story about this person over the internet. And I'm looking at this person. I mean, this was, my meeting this person was 42 years ago. 42 years ago. We were teenagers. We were teenagers in college. Things were innocent back then, at least how I perceived things. And I remember some of the challenges she had health wise. 42 years later, uh, she would require both of those things. And I started crying a little bit. I started to cry a little bit because, wow, um, it blows your mind. Someone that you're just kids. And I think part of me is a little angry at the same time. I want to be honest. I initially cared for this person. And I think part of me feels a little betrayed. Um, but to see this, it's like, as I put it, karma. Yeah, that's what I put in the title: karma, bigotry, and community building, or community challenges. And so the element for this video, the karma, people could, yeah, I feel bad. I mean, no one wants, whether they're your frenemy, you don't want harm for anybody. And I started to cry because I think I identify so much that I have a wound. And I had surgery um, about 13 years ago on my uterus. Excuse me. Yeah, I had major surgery before. The healing process, I'm sorry, my apology, my throat is a little dry. Um, yeah, and I had, before I had my surgery, I had to get, I had gotten three recommendations, three referrals. And I wanted to get as much information to make the right choice for me. And one of the so-called doctors, said that they'll take out everything for the fiber. Yeah, I had a fibroid, a giant fibroid, but it was on the outside. Oh, we just, like, at first she made me feel like, oh, we're not quick to judge here, what to do. And, she was from Latin America. She seemed really neat. It was in uh, East, what's that? East, Alphabet City. A lot of people from Puerto Rico lived there. And then the facility was founded by an Afro-Latino from Puerto Rico. So it's to serve what they call in New York City people of color, the Hispanic community from the Caribbean. And I had gone there. I think this was the first or second place I went to. And so the initial meeting with the doctor was very, okay, so she's not one of those doctors that just cut. And then she came back in the room, and all of a sudden her tone changed. Before she seemed conservative, about how she approaches things. And then she went radical. She says, "Oh, well, my recommendation, I'll just take everything out. We'll take your uterus and your cervix and your ovaries." Now, my ovaries were fine. I did have one giant fibroid on the outside of the uterus. And she's telling me for a complete hysterectomy and the removal of my ovaries because, oh, you don't need it anymore. You'll be going through menopause in a couple of more years. And it's, when you take something like that out, that it will put you in immediate menopause and all the side effects that you would get from that. And it's a long, long procedure for healing. Yeah, she was wrong, all right, Cam. She was wrong. And so I kept my cool, and I said, well, I would like to get a different, more than one recommendation. Thank you very much. And when I went outside, I bursted out crying. So I know what it's like to have the fear to recommend getting a complete, I know how I felt inside. Other than that, my reproductive equipment was working properly. I just had one giant fibroid that was just hanging on the outside of my uterus. Then I went to another one. And she was a young girl. Oh, well, we can just split you up the middle vertically. It'll leave a big scar and blah, 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 And basically my recommendation is just to remove it too. Then I went to the last one. And she was much older than the others. And this is what she said to me. She says, "Tell me what your goals are." And so I said, well, ideally I still love the chance of having a child if I can. So she said, okay. So then this is what I recommend. So she said, just to remove the fibroid, and X, Y, and Z, So I went with her. And it was a pretty good recovery. But the fear of someone removing this part, it was a challenge. I felt challenged when that doctor said that to me. Yeah, in New York City, I am getting a little bit off track, but it's all related. It's life. And sometimes doctors may recommend there was no reason for them to do a complete hysterectomy and removal of healthy ovaries. But because I had insurance, and I would believe because of my race, just remove the damn thing. Just take it all out. And it makes me feel angry when I think about that. That medicine is often dictated by your social economic. See, there's no reason to take out your ovaries if they're working. And a uterus that just have one big fibroid. Because prior to that, I was watching this video of a doctor in New York City. It was a black doctor and a black patient. And this girl had so many fibroids throughout her uterus. She took out more than 20. And you see, they're actually showing you the procedure. she wanted to make this girl, she was like in her 20s or something like that, the patient, and she was married. She wanted to have kids, and so that black doctor took so much care, took so much care to remove as many of the fibroids so that she would have a successful pregnancy and delivery. And so the doctor that I saw from South America, oh, just take the whole. It's like they don't want to, they're not interested in you. And so how's that kind of related with my uh, friend from 42 years ago, with karma? Well, I even though it's a horrible thing, I think I started asking myself, is this karma? I mean, one disaster like that, no, I mean, I felt like almost like she's being punished for the things how she treated people. This person that I used to hang with, just the things that she would do to people. And it's like, is this karma? But seeing her talk, I mean, the last time I spoke to her was in the end of 93, no, the early 94. And she had called me to go to a party that she was giving. And I was just getting over a really bad cold. And I told her, I said, well, I have a cold. I'm not feeling well. And I have to recuperate. Then she yells and says, I promised these guys that we were going to have women at the party. So it's like she doesn't care about me. She's about who she wants to impress and to try to get certain people at an event. And it's like she's not thinking about my well-being. So it's like, wow. I mean, this was the type of person she was. And so now she's in a pickle. She had her hysterectomy and is doing chemo. That's all that I want to say about the person. Because I don't want, I despite her behavior, I don't want her identity to be found. But she was someone who I knew, broke bread with, so to speak. And yeah, life was very challenging back there. Yeah, she was very, very selfish. Yeah, it was just a lot of bad things, and it was all about impressing. But in the United States, we have an expression: you want to impress the Joneses, and the Joneses is like your neighbor, and you want to be perceived as having the latest this, the latest that. You go on vacations, all that superficial stuff. And she was from another country in the Caribbean, and in certain islands it's very class and color segregated, what defines the place. And so coming to the US, they went out of their way to try to assimilate and really don't respect your own. And I was in a dilemma. See, I was born here in America, but yes, my grandparents are from the Caribbean, not the same place where this woman was from. But being born in a place, born and raised in a place, you have a different perspective. And it was a challenge for me because I met people that I used to associate with, but we had different standards because of where I was born and raised and where they were born and raised. And so they were willing to compromise certain things, even though on paper some of them did well, but at what price? And so I didn't want, um, I didn't want to compromise. Yes, maybe I could have done what they did, but I didn't want to do that because I know what those other people were all about, and I know that they really didn't like me, and I didn't want to. I didn't want to compromise myself to try to have certain ethnic slash racial grouping to love me. I wanted to learn to love myself. That's what I'm learning. To love yourself. And I've said that many times in my videos, that you have people who want to be loved by certain other people, that they're willing to compromise their race, their ethnicity. They they don't teach their children where they come from. They don't teach them maybe, just things to have certain pride. And even though on the surface she did well, and she married someone with money, but and yes, they had some children. And despite all her efforts to be loved by these certain people in America, her kid was at a competition. And okay, she also lives in a community that does not look like her. And then they called him the N-word because the team that he was on won the competition. So it's like you can have their education, religion, sports, whatever. But I see that there is a jealousy, and they really don't accept you. There was no reason for the other team to call them the N word. And this is in a very upper middle community. I'm not going to say what state here in America. No, no, she's not famous. No, she's not famous. Um, but I shared it because it's about, you know, um, yeah, I bumped into her in the street in 2004, and she was pregnant, and she was going to do I remember, like, I had just come from my physical therapy. I had a problem with my shoulder, and so I had to wear a jacket to keep me warm. So she recognized me, and then when I looked and saw who it was, I recognized her. Name calling. She started name calling me, and she shows that she's pregnant, and we didn't talk long. But again, she's bragging about her husband having this property nearby where I live, And she said, "Oh, you live in this neighborhood?" See, she doesn't think that I could live in a nice neighborhood. So it's like, oh, I live in this neighborhood where her husband owns, has a property. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, see, I didn't have to compromise my body to get what I have. She did, okay? She did. And so, and I don't have to insult anybody either. So it's the insecurity. And some people, what do you call it, frenemies, want to insult, make it look like that they have something. Yeah, yeah. I just said hello. When I realized who it was, I said, "Oh, hi." So so she's good. She's continue on, her journey. She says, "Oh, I have to go to the bathroom, but since I'm pregnant, and if that establishment doesn't allow me to use their bathrooms, I'm going to complain." So she's using her physical condition to almost like blackmail the establishment that if they don't let her use the bathroom at the restaurant, you know, she'll make a scene. Now she knows that in places, in order to use the bathroom at a restaurant, you got to be eating there. They don't want people just coming off the street using the bathroom. But this is what she'll be willing to that she said she'd be willing to do. So I really didn't have much respect for her, and this was someone. Yeah, so you understand what I'm saying, and she's a attractive woman. She's attractive, and so she knows how to manipulate and using her pregnancy to get what she wants. And it angered me. And when that happened, and this was in 2004. And after when we parted, I said to myself, I am so damn glad that I did not compromise what was important to me. I am so damn glad. And then fast forward, and I'm just learning this afternoon. Um, she's in a bad situation. Um, she had the removal, the hysterectomy, and is on chemotherapy and lost all her hair. And she showed it. Yeah, she was, the whole family. The whole family was toxic. See, being, I was being exposed to toxic people and people who wanted to just find out what I and my family had. I was very naive. I was a very naive woman, very trusting. But see, life had to teach me. Yeah, I would tell any young woman starting out, don't compromise yourself. Do not. Yes, you have women who go to bed with people, um, just a lot of things, just ethics. I mean, I'm not trying to judge anybody. I mean, I'm not saying these things to judge other people. I'm just saying that, see, in the end, so you may want prestige. That when I was a young person, yes, I wanted nice things, but I'm not going to do certain things to get certain things. Um, but it's a price to pay. That's what I'm getting at. That this karma, some people might call it karma, and that there's a price to pay for your behavior, how you treat your so-called friends, what you did to get what you have. Now, some people think, oh well, I'll poo-poo on people, and then when I'm rich and famous or whatever, oh I'll just call myself a philanthropic person and start giving away money. You notice something with people, like just notice when you go like on the internet and finding out uh, about certain uh, people who make a lot of money. And they say the word, oh, I'm a philanthropist. Who they're giving their money to? When someone said they're philanthropic, that means that they give money or things to others. Is like altruistic. Many of these people are not altruistic, but I hate it. I hate it. Remember that woman? I know I'm going off the topic a little bit, but there was another woman. She was a thief. This was, well, let me just say, she was arrested several times for theft, okay? And uh, she, 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 she was the woman that was uh, working with this owner of a basketball team, and she had uh, recorded him speaking and got some very damaging statements on tape, what he said. And she gave the tape to a so-called friend, okay, people, these so-called friends you have. She gave the tape to a friend to hold on to. Why she couldn't hold on to it herself, but either way, this is what she said, that she gave it to a friend, and then that friend gave it to a news outlet, and the story broke. But in her, um, I think she had like a website, or she had something, and it said that she is a philanthropic, I'm sorry, a philanthropist. And I thought that was a hot one. Someone who is a thief and there's a history of thieving and lying, and then she wants to tell the world that she's a philanthropist. I don't know, people. Is that the new euphemism for stealing? I don't know. Oh, I know I'm a little bit off the topic, but it's about karma. And even that lady that was dating, I mean, working with that basketball player, she got karma. And they took away, the legal wife took away all the um, all the gifts that her legal husband gave the mistress slash co-worker. The wife sued her and got back the house, the car, and other miscellaneous things. And you haven't heard anything about her after that event. That happened a couple of years back. So that's the first aspect of this talk, this live stream about karma. And so it hurts because, see, I had trusted this person, and they reminded me of someone that I know that was that is, I would say, close, that I'm close to some degree, and so it hurts more. Um, and for them, I wish, boy, I'm just tripping over my words right now. Yeah, I'm just finding out this, and I feel badly for her, and I wish her a quick recovery. You know, she completed the chemo, and so I wish her body be strengthened. And yeah, yeah, she had a good positive attitude. Yeah, I didn't write her. I mean, 2 years ago, I did write her a message, and I never got a response. And so I didn't feel comfortable after seeing this. She shared a lot of things, what was going on with her. Um, I didn't think that I should respond, I mean, to write anything about it. Um, but I really wish her uh, strength and uh, full recovery and vibrancy in her life and her family. Yeah, that I'll say. Yeah, yeah, I think people, see, uh, you have a lot of young people out there, and they might see, they might have so-called friends, and maybe the friends might start to make fun of them because they don't wear the latest shoes, clothes. Uh, let's say they start using their credit cards to go on lavish um, trips and everything. But see, there's a price to pay, people. When you come back from those vacations or when you bring those clothes home from the store, you got to pay it. See, a lot of people pretend to have money and they don't have anything. Who owns it all is the bank. You make certain purchases, they're gonna clamp down. Live according to your means. Or make your thing. Make your clothes or something if you can. Or do your own hair. See, a lot of people, and I would say a lot of black people um, in America, and now since everything is so social media, so people from all over the world see one another. Um, they want to live outside of their actual resources. And to live um, that lifestyle, it's going to cost you. You have to pay because you want to impress everybody, and then at the end of the month, you don't have all the money to pay off that credit card in one swoop, and so there's interest on it. And I had people tell me the interest rates that they have to pay is outrageous. Pay according to your means. And some people they're expensive to hang out with. They want to always be in certain places and they're expensive. People, be selective who you hang out with. If you cannot afford to hang out with them, then find other friends. Yeah, I because I rather carry my own weight. You know what I mean? Yeah, I was in a situation and I felt I was compromising in this other situation. I know I'm contradicting myself. Um, I was spending more money than I wanted to. That's what I mean. I had the money, but I was spending a lot of money to hang with this person. This was 7 years ago. Yes, 7 years ago, and yeah, I'm glad that 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 friendship ended. But yes, I realized, you know, to have a lifestyle, a long time lifestyle of trying to impress other people, it starts to eat you up alive. That's why I'm mentioning this to you people. That certain things might, it might look pretty uh, um, on the surface, to look, to act a certain way, but you can't carry it. Most of us can't carry certain lifestyle, but we want to pretend that we can, and it's eating us up alive. And the behavior is what we do to carry this facade. And then the meanness, or some people want to compete against their own friends, or sleep with their best friend's lover. And what do you have at the end? And so then karma can come knocking on the door. Sometimes karma doesn't come right away. It can come 40 years later. And that's what happened to my uh, frenemy. I really feel bad about the person. Yeah, so oh, I just saw something here that someone wrote something. What was that? Yeah. Okay, Ken says, yes, that's where Beyonce's mother is considered a, oh, really, a philanthropist. Interesting. Okay. This is so mature of you. I'm like that too. I still want people to do well. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, this was the person she seemed like a sister to me. She could pass as my sister, and so but she wasn't. And sometimes you have to make the decision to leave a friendship, and sometimes you don't really have to say anything. You just stop calling, stop going over, and it would just end. It end. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's very important, people, this time, this season, all the holidays. People like to buy things for Christmas, and they may not even be a Christian, and they buy things because you know, peer pressure, or the kids won't love them anymore, and they don't even appreciate the gift, and it's a bondage. It's a bondage. Having certain friends are a bondage. And that one friend that I had, it was a bondage. Not the first one from 42 years ago, but there was another one of 7 years ago. I got so tired. I said, I couldn't get out of bed. She had called, and I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't, I was exhausted. I was spending a lot of money. I was going out, not used to going out, and I couldn't get up one time, and that ended our friendship. That easy. Yeah, it was really something. Well, oh well. So let me go on with the next topic now. Yeah, the next thing I wanted to talk about, what was that now? I talked about karma. What was that other thing I was to talk about? Bigotry. Yeah, so it'll be bigotry and about community, but they go hand in hand too with those two, because it's really referring to the same thing that I wanted to talk about next. Um, again, it's really about self examination. Um, Again, I live in a big city, and I meet all types of people. And I heard in life, again, I don't want to mention the name of a particular group, but we hear things. We hear things about people. And I understood from an incident. It was only one real incident. But after that incident, I understood about bigotry, about disliking someone. Sometimes we may have, like, I think human beings have what they call different archetypes, different personalities. And you could divide people into different personalities, what are called archetypes. There are different archetypes of people. And these archetypes could be good or bad. The archetype is like the essence of a particular person or group, or it characterizes a particular group. And when I, in essence, saw that archetype with this particular group, I understood why someone may hate somebody else. It's like you could smell. It's like a skunk. You ever walked and a foul smell? Well, sometimes some of us have a foul smell, a social smell. I don't mean a biological bad smell, but one's behavior. Or let's say someone lacks of certain ethics. Yeah, I watched this video, and it talked about this particular group of people, and it was like a documentary. And the more and more the person who's in charge of that community, they served like a mayor of that town, of these people. The more horrible that what was expressed within them. And yeah, I even met someone at a hospital, and they were sharing with me they were in a they were at a war. Yeah, they were a POW. No, I don't want to say POW. I mean they were a civilian, but they were imprisoned, and they eventually escaped when the war ended. And they were telling me the experience of what it was like to be, a captive. And to my surprise, towards the end of the conversation, she made mention about this particular group of people and to don't trust them. And I felt awkward, and I didn't like what she said. That you're going to go through hell being oppressed during this war, and the people that did the things to you was not the person that you're talking about. You're talking about someone else who was a victim just like you, so it didn't make sense to me. It's like you're a slave in a ship, but maybe one's from a different tribe, but you're all in the same boat. And so it turned me off. But I remembered her speaking such way. And then when some years later, and I had gone to a store and I was talking to the sales rep, and they said something, and it really turned me off. They did share about their background, what their ethnicity was. I don't remember why they shared it, but it was given. And I was interested in possibly, well, the person who I was talking to, we got to talk about um, UFOs, and his son had seen a UFO. So I said, wow, I'd love to interview him. And it was just how, I guess he said it, but he said it really like with greed. Well, you got to pay me first. Then he says, oh, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. And right then and there, I understood why that lady at that hospital told me what she told me about this group. I didn't want to believe and generalize anybody. It's not fair. But I understood where bigotry can uh, be festered through. This archetype behavior that some humans may possess. And maybe this archetype negative behavior was developed over time, over generations, because of maybe persecution. It could be a number of things. But the fact that when a larger number of people all possess that type of archetype, that's where bigotry can come in and fester. I'm being real. It was just such a turnoff. And you start to ask yourself, why present yourself like, if you know historically you have been treated a certain way, why would you conduct yourself in that way that doesn't really work for you? That is the big question. And remember, you may not be the only one that goes to different countries. This is a world that a lot of people um, are socially can socially hop to different places. Transportation is more affordable now. So it's a smaller world, and you might leave one country and go to another, but you have people from that old country might be in your new country. People travel, and now people also have what we call social media. You learn about a lot about people on social media. Well, at least what they want to show you. Okay, not everything they show you is real, but at least it's something. So it felt real, and I felt a little guilty about it. I mean, um, I was just really disgusted in the person, and I just understood where that person was coming from that type of behavior. Be careful, people. If you're new at a place, people are people, but especially if you're new to a place and you're very visible based on your physical appearance in the new location, be very careful about the words you use or say. And stop saying, "Oh, I'm just kidding." No, you're not kidding. That father was not kidding when he said. He meant every word of it, but he panicked. Maybe how I looked when he said it. Uh, he realized, hey, it must have sounded bad. It did sound bad. It's not like I'm work for a major television or cable production place, where they make millions and millions of dollars. I'm just some, you know, um, YouTuber that has a small following, and it was just a casual conversation. Greed is not something you want to project in a community that you're new in. Greed never works well for you. So that's a warning and instructions to people out there. You go to a place, be as modest. Don't throw your wealth around, and be careful the words you use. So the last one I want to talk about now is about community, about the community. Community. What makes a community? In forming a community. And this is tied in with the group that said something that was inappropriate, I felt, about greed. Um, this same group, now, okay, they do work for themselves, and they were able to um, acquire land, and they built beautiful, beautiful mansions about 20, 30 years ago. So that would be the 1990s and the millennial time, millennial, 2000. And I'm not sure who physically built the homes, whether these people are skilled in home building. But either way, they had it built. And primarily the work that they do, they're like merchants. They would buy something and then resell it, according to them, according to the interview. And they were able to build themselves mansions, people. Beautiful. The mansions with marble columns, um, beautiful wrought iron gates. Very, very, I mean, these were um, really extravagant homes. And the whole district where these people lived, they had either they personally built it or had someone build it. But unfortunately, they could not complete all the homes. See what happened, I guess, 20 years ago. There was some, I guess, economic crash or something, and the people could not finish building their home. I mean, like the exterior was done, but I guess inside they still had to finish inside, and the place are abandoned. So they have a whole neighborhood of abandoned homes. And so I started thinking, okay, what we know about the community, that people had some jobs, and they was, sell their products, but something happened and they weren't able to do that anymore. So I started thinking, so I said to myself, I said, wait a minute. Now these are mansions, a community of mansions. So I said, well, what makes a community? Why did that community fall? Well, I started analyzing it in my perspective and understanding. Okay. Now, I got the impression that they thought, now this is a poor group. It's a poor group that was able to, who got an opportunity, and they wanted to build homes, but really extravagant homes, because they want to make a statement. And that reminded me of what's happening here in America. You have people here who historically are very poor, but they want to, because they had an opportunity of what money does come into their hands, they want to show people that they have money. And building a mansion is one way to make people think you got money. But they couldn't finish it. They could not finish. So what really makes a community? Because the same thing could happen here in America. You may have someone who gets access to some cash, and they love the feel of the cash. They like, hey, they can buy something, maybe a down deposit, and then they worry about the rest later. But life happens. And what you think you have, you don't have, and you don't really own. They were building what they thought was going to be a magnificent place, but it didn't have the infrastructure. People were, I guess, living on the illusion that they had something, that they had money, but they did not. They, in essence, paid what they didn't have. And virtually the whole community really perished. I mean, they're still standing. And you have a remnant of people that still lives within this community, but you're living around abandoned buildings. And I could see something like that happening here in America. That now you notice with advertisement now in New York City, they're trying to pander to a lot of people of color. Because remember before, about so-called discrimination. So now they are targeting people of color. And they're also catering to get you to get a mortgage. And so, but we really don't have that kind of money. And we don't have the infrastructure. So you might have money initially, but we didn't have the money to finish, like in 2008. Remember what happened in 2008? That bubble happened. So people thought they had something, and they didn't. And some people lost everything. And your place could turn into a ghost town. The same thing could happen right here in America again. I mean, a whole community, virtually all abandoned. I mean, these were luxury-looking buildings in American standard. No one's living in them, and they were forced to move overseas. To try to find work somewhere else. So I think I'm saying, I think I'm sharing this part of the story that, see, they might tell us to buy black, buy African, but what is going to keep that community strong, people? What is going to keep it strong and vibrant? Because they all played the same game. And yes, they were getting the house made bit by bit, whatever. And then boom, they had nothing to stand on. And together you all fall. What can we do as a nation to form a community and to keep it? How do you create a vibrant community without compromising yourself? I think this is the big question here, because things are shifting right now in New York City. A lot of shifting, and people coming and going. But how are you going to set up your community? And I learned that community doesn't mean having a house. I thought what made a community were the houses. But I actually see with this one particular place that I'm referring to, they're all building their homes, luxury, very, very plush homes. But they lost it. Their husbands, they were forced to move. They abandoned their homes. What could you do to promote community? To keep what you have. This is very important, to be able to keep what you have. so that you can build a future. And so again, I repeat, a community, what builds a community is not just having a house there on a hill, but to maintain the infrastructure. That's what's going to make a community, and to have a common common standards, language, religion, all that. Yeah, I wouldn't want to fall into that. Or these quick makeshift communities. I've been hearing that over the years, recent years. People want to form another, community. Here's the word again, community in some other location, and some of the people are being scammed. People are being scammed for you to release money to them. Oh, we'll form a union, an alliance, a tribe, and they only want your money, and then they split. Be careful. People want to take your money. Be very careful. Be very careful. A community, wow. I love the word community. But you have people who make you think that they're part of your community because of what they look like. But not everybody who might look like you, talk like you, act like you, they may not be from your community. But they know how to appear like they're in your community. Be careful of this. Be careful of this. And maybe have a backup. Hey, you want to form a community with people that you know. Make sure you're all on the same page. And make sure, hey, where's your money coming in? I mean, I think what was also, again, I'm not an economist at all, but what else could I mean, for a whole neighborhood to go? I would say I mean, I'm just speculating what could be. Um, Maybe different types of businesses. If everybody does the same thing there, and if that industry falls, you all fall together. So maybe variety. Maybe they needed more people that did a variety of things in that community. Yeah, you can't just have one because if something happens, you'll fall. So yeah, these are my main thoughts. These are my main thoughts. I hope you enjoy what I'm talking about. It's really an eye opener about all these things that I'm talking about. I mean, I think to me that they're all basically related because what community am I talking about? Well, the community that I come from. What those elements that I mentioned in this live stream, it affects me, and I'm sure that it affects other people out there. So thank you again. Hope you can that you enjoyed this live content, and yeah, be careful how you treat people because karma might be knocking at your door. It may not happen right away. It could happen maybe as long as 40 plus years ago. Be careful about, be aware of where bigotry or hatred could come from and how you might come across to others. Because it could trigger somebody, and that may not be in your best interest. And again, community building. What builds up the community? How do you keep that infrastructure? Well, one suggestion is diversifying the community. So thank you again for listening, and I share my that quick recap about what I just talked about. Um, if you like this comment, you may want to PayPal me, and to do so, just come to my channel, Spirit Journey, and on the right hand side of the banner is my PayPal me link. You just click on the link, follow the prompts, and any amount would be greatly appreciated. I thank you all in advance for your gifts, for your smiles, and the thumbs up. Thank you again for sharing this lovely evening with you. Take care and enjoy. Bye bye.